Welcome to the flash of Decoding Healthcare Research. Today we will talk about sleep and the consequences of altered sleep on the different risk factors, specifically biomarkers of cardiovascular disease. I'm going to discuss the paper published in the British Medical Central Public Health. The title of the paper is Associations between Sleep Duration, Sleep Disturbance, and Cardiovascular Disease Biomarkers among adults in the United States. The group that published this paper is from the University of South Carolina in the United States. What they did was to take a big cohort from the National Health and Nutrition Survey that has information about 23,000 patients. They took all the information from the health questionnaires and they tried to find an association between the duration of sleep and the presence or absence of sleep disturbances. They tried to find an association between these two parameters and several biomarkers of cardiovascular disease that include C-reactive protein, the lipid profile, and some indicators of the metabolism of blood sugar, including insulin and glycosylated hemoglobin or hemoglobin A1C. They found that on average for this big cohort, the duration of sleep was 7.1 hours. That's on average what the American people older than 20 years sleep. They also found that the prevalence of sleep disturbances is 25.1%. So one in every four adults in the United States is reporting alterations in their sleep. They found, and this is probably the most important part, that when you sleep less than 6 hours per day, there is a significant increase in C-reactive protein as a marker of inflammation with an odds ratio of 3. That's 3 times more likely when you compare those who sleep less than 6 hours with those who sleep between 6 and 8 hours. The level of cholesterol HDL was also abnormal with an odds ratio of 1.2. They also found that the insulin concentration and the hemoglobin A1C levels were altered in those who slept less than 6 hours with an odds ratio of 1.24 and 1.25. That means 24 or 25% more likely to develop these biochemical alterations. For those who slept more than 9 hours, the situation is no better. Actually, the levels of C-reactive protein were higher in this group with an odds ratio of more than 6. So it's 6 times more likely compared to those who sleep between 6 and 9 hours. They also found that both the glucose levels and the insulin levels were altered in a significant manner. Finally, when they tried to find an association between the presence of sleep disturbances and the biochemical markers, they found that for those who complain of sleep disorders, the risk of having high triglycerides and high blood sugar is significant with odds ratios around 1.24. What can we conclude out of these results? First, that there is a clear association between the lipid profile and metabolism of glucose and the quality and quantity of sleep. The sweet spot seems to happen between 6 and 8 hours of sleep, and that's something that is definitely recommended. However, we need to realize that this is a cross-sectional study, and we are unable to establish causal relationships to the point that it's impossible to know if the lack of sleep leads to biochemical changes or the other way around, having cardiovascular disease biomarkers at an abnormal level may determine alteration of sleep. Nobody knows. However, the fact that there is association highlights the fact that something that has to do with your lifestyle can be modified. And by modifying the time and the quality of sleep, you may enjoy a better metabolic profile. This is an easy thing to do for many people just by focusing on the time that you go to bed. Sometimes it's impossible to modify the time when you wake up, either because you have to wake up early to go to work, or because you have your biological clock set up in that way that even if you don't have to wake up early, your brain wakes you up no matter what is going to happen at the same time. So what is in your hand? In your hands is probably going to bed earlier and use all the hygiene measures to try to improve the quality, latency, and quantity of sleep. And that is probably the recommendation that we can draw from this paper. I hope this information is useful, and see you in the next episode.